every single title Sweet Baby Inc.'s affiliated with spectacularly fails, and Unknown 9 Awakening was no stranger to that. Bandai Namco went out of their way to buy Reflector Studios specifically for this game, so we all expected it to be slightly higher quality, but it wasn't. It's buggy, it's broken, the gameplay is disastrous, the visuals are terrible. I could go on about the problems in this game, but now a GameStop insider is revealing the shocking secret sales numbers for this title, and it's beyond dead. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, we of course have been watching the Steam numbers, and they have been abysmal. They have not been good, and of course, only a week after release, we saw the player counts decline by over 40%. When you've only got a few hundred people in your title, that's definitely not a good look. As you can see, it peaked at 285 on release day, and now it's sitting at around 59 players, and this is a relatively short game. And of course, when it comes to single-player titles, people do come and go, but they didn't draw in an audience at all whatsoever at release, at least through Steam, but now we're actually hearing some physical sales numbers. It says, recently I received an email from an anonymous source claiming to work at the corporate level for GameStop. So of course, right off the bat, this is a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. We cannot verify this to the T, right? But it is still very fascinating to hear. It says I work for GameStop at the corporate level. I have data on 2,900 stores. Your video inspired me to check Unknown 9 sales, while there was movement for 2K initial copies, which were store distributions. I saw maybe 50 other copies with movement, which were pre-orders, but nothing else. That means that if you went into the store, you could not find a copy, which isn't particularly shocking given this was not a gigantic release, but you would have expected the next Bandai Namco game on the block to at least be in stores and sell some copies. But yeah, I mean, as it says, they saw maybe 50 other copies with movement, which were pre-orders. So a very small group of people. This is hilarious because this is who they want to sell their games to, the modern audience, and they barely can be called that because they're practically just sensitive snowflakes on social media. But when you only have 50 people in a group, you can't really say that they are some, behemoth movement, right? That the modern audience is going to dominate the gaming industry. While yes, we are seeing a lot of companies make products that appeal to the modern audience, this group of people does not show up to buy games, or maybe they do because there's only a couple hundred of them. We had around 350 copies of Unknown 9 for the PlayStation 5 available for shipping, but the demand was zero, meaning none sold. And on Xbox, we had about 150 copies and zero demand. So between both platforms, at the time of my first email, we sold zero copies, which is insane to think of because there's so many stores. Again, 2,900 stores they have data on, and you could not get a single person to buy it from their website, to go into a store and buy. I mean, there's nobody who wants this game. I, of course, did live stream a playthrough on my channel. It was terrible. I did not like it. I was not a fan. I highly recommend you stay away from it and save your money. But it appears that I don't even need to tell you that because none of you guys are showing up to purchase this garbage either. It also says retail stores serve as one of the most important early indicators of a game's potential success. And I do agree with this. Now, of course, it's important to note that about 80% of game sales now are digital, but physical sales are still alive. There are plenty of people who try to purchase physical at any chance possible. Like myself, I do try to purchase physical whenever I can. And physical sales numbers are still important to have because there is still a large portion of gamers who want physical titles. Like if you look at the breakdown between the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Digital, you actually have 82% of the makeup of consoles are the ones with the disc drive. This is a brand new number that actually had just recently released, which is insane to hear, but very positive in my opinion. I want games to still sell physically. I still want consoles to have disc drives, and I know that yes, it is very convenient to buy games from your home on this digital storefront, and I think that that definitely should be an option for people, but I do still think that physical games are where it's at, that we should support them whenever we can, but nobody showed up to buy this game in the first place, digital or physical. But again, I can't sit here and really say that even if these numbers are real, that I'm particularly surprised. This is what happens when you constantly push gamers away from products, like the Sweet Baby Ink devs who constantly attack content creators and gamers call us ists and phobes. This is what happens when you pump out products that really are not what the market currently wants. We just want high quality, very fun video games. Again, we don't want narratives shoved in our face. We do not care about your diversity quotas. We just want you to make really amazing products, or at least have decent products. This is the thing, is that the Ubisoft CEO had recently said, oh, Star Wars Outlaws failed because gamers' expectations are way too high. Yes, when you are charging a lot of money for games and you're constantly pumping out products, we do have high expectations. We want you to be better. And it's been proven time and time again that if you make a really high quality experience, we will pay top dollar. Nobody complains about paying $70 for a game like Elden Ring or an Armored Core, right? Nobody complains about paying decent money when you're actually making a good Assassin's Creed game or a good Tomb Raider game. Like, you can still make a hell of a lot of money. You just need to give us a really decent experience. And these people instead constantly attack us, constantly belittle us. And now we're seeing games like this fail. And I have to say, I really don't feel that bad. And it's hilarious to hear this happen because right now there's a massive boycott against Sweet Baby Inc. games. And even if you set Sweet Baby Inc. aside and that affiliation aside, this game in totality is a nightmare. It is buggy, it is glitchy, it is broken. The storytelling is god awful. Not that I really expect any different from David Bedard and Kim Belair, who are the co-founders of Sweet Baby Inc. You, of course, have very mediocre visuals. Like, I do not know why the hell Bandai Namco went out of their way to buy Reflector Studios thinking this was going to be a major game, but we just saw the same thing happening with Sony and Firewalk Studios, and we, of course, know the Steam chart numbers are abysmal. All-time peak was 285, and it dipped all the way down to 59 people a week after release. And when you only have 285 as your maximum, we are going to see those player numbers drop relatively quickly, especially where this is a game that is single player, people play it, they move on, things like that. But it's really not shocking to actually hear these secret sales numbers. Of course, again, this is a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. This cannot be, wholly verified. But on the flip side, I can believe it that basically nobody wanted this game. We can already see that with the numbers we have through platforms like Steam. It's not particularly shocking to know that basically nobody wanted this title, and the fabled modern audience that these companies want to market their titles to either don't show up or they don't actually exist. So of course I will continue to keep my eye on this situation. If Bandai makes any statements about Unknown Nine Awakening, if Sweet Baby does, if any of the developers do. But for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.